Hello and welcome to the Tarkis Zone. Thank you for joining me. We're going to be playing some Black Desert Online. In this video, I'm going to be talking about a few topics in this video, but it's going to be around money and making silver in this game. Now, I'm making this video towards the person who wants to put a little effort in the PV or life skill. I was going to say PvE, but basically, if you want to put a little effort into the life skills of this game, you can make massive amounts of money. Now, if you're one of those players that come on just PvP, and you get your gear upgrades or your whatever you need by going out and grinding mobs, collecting the loot, using that loot to better your equipment, then if that's all you want to do, then this video might not be for you. Because I'm looking for the person who's willing to put just a little bit of effort in the life skills and then make massive amounts of money. Because you'll make more money doing what I'm going to tell you than you ever would just going around and killing mobs all night. It's just the reality of it. So let's talk about a few things first. In this game, your contribution points equals revenue gains. So you got to look at, for every contribution point you have, that contribution point should be making you money. Okay, and there's a few ways you can use your contribution points in this game, and I'm going to talk about a couple of them. And then we're going to get into the topic of passive income. So I'm going to try to make this video short and not really confuse you too much. So there is one way to increase drop rates in this game, is to make sure that your paths are connected to a city with a warehouse. Okay, there's any city that has a warehouse is a connecting point. Okay, so that you can go from like Heidel, you see this yellow line that gets me over to the Lynch Farm Ruins. Okay, because I have that connected by investing contribution points here. And then as we move along, you'll see that all of these are connected by these yellow lines, because I've invested contribution points at each one of these global nodes. And you're asking yourself, well, how does that make me money, Tarkis? Well, if you do this connection, and for example, let's say this was an endgame node, like 50 to 56, and there's an epic RNG drop that drops, and it's worth like 10 mil, okay, every time it drops. Now, by having this node connecting, again in my scenario, to a warehouse, your drop rate increases. So if this wasn't connected to a warehouse, then your drop rate is not as robust. So for example, if you're just grinding this willy-nilly, like this one's not connected, and let's say there's an epic drop here, and this one's not connected, there's no yellow line, your drop rate is less than it could have been if you invested the contribution points and linked it to a warehouse. It's just the way it is. And then in addition, you could invest energy in that node in hopes to even gain a higher RNG chance. Everything is better when it's connected. Your drop rates are just better. So that's one way to get money in this game if you're just that PvP kind of person grinding. Like if you're grinding pirates, all right? If you're grinding, I haven't even been to the pirate. Forgive me, I've never been to the island. Let's say you're grinding pirates. So you would have to connect the nodes throughout the ocean to get it to this port here. And then once it's connected here, when you're on Pirate Island, your drop rates are better. That's the way the game works. So you can make some money, some extra money, by using your contribution points in that way. Well, there's other ways you can invest your contribution points to get you some money. And we're going to talk about workers. And you're going to say, oh no, Tarkis, this is going to be too difficult. I don't want to hear about it. I just want to PvP. I just want to go kill world bosses. No, I don't want to talk about workers. Well, in reality is, if you're willing to do a little beer making, cooking, your workers will bring you in money leaps and bounds. And for example, I'm going to hit the M key here. Anytime you walk into a city, and let's say you have no workers, anytime you walk into a city with a warehouse, you only have to buy to get some silver and buy that first worker. You don't have to get lodging. You don't have to waste contribution points in lodging. You just walk up to the hiring guy, the guy that gives you the workers, and you buy your worker, your first worker. Okay, that guy is basically free other than the silver you put into him. Okay? Once you have that worker, even if you just went over to this farm here and connected this node, all right, and invested I think it was like one contribution point for this global node, and then you would invest, let's say you invest in this node, this wheat node, all right. So you got that one worker. You got I think the total of this was 2 contribution points. Okay, so you've got 2 contribution points invested here to get the 2 nodes, the global node and the working node. You send your worker there. The wheat alone, if you were to just walk it over to the vendor, if I went into my warehouse here and took the wheat and just walked it over 10 feet to that vendor that's sitting on that dock, I would make more money than I put into that worker globally. So, because if I make my own beer, and you can buy your beer now, I think the beer is as low as 1,300 silver per. It's just that you got to make sure that that worker, okay, is making back what you're paying in beer. But if you're taking that wheat, for example, that I just told you to get, and use that to make beer, doing a little cooking, then you'd be able to supply the beer to your worker for free, basically, because it's just your cooking time. And then whatever beer you have left, you can go sell for 1,300 to somebody else. That's the reality of it. And that's just a small example on how that's going to make you some money just doing a little cooking. Now, for example, my worker empire is 55. Now, I only have to make beer for an hour 1 day a week. So for an hour, for an hour, for 7 days, it will get me 7 days that hour of cooking beer, and I can feed all my workers for 7 days. So it's not that big of an inconvenience. So that means that my workers are running out in the world gathering me things that are coming to my warehouse, and then I have options. And I call that passive income, because you're using your contribution points for lodging for these workers. Now, if you're smart and you just want to not spend any contribution for lodging, just go to each town and get that one worker and send them off to a node. But that's going to be a lot of shifting around the warehouses when you want to bring those items centrally. In my thoughts here, if you had a central location when you sent people out, then you've got one location where you can just slap the stuff on the marketplace or walk it over to the vendor if that's what you want to do. So you will, in my opinion, spend some contribution points in lodging. So in sense, that's still making you money because you're having an extra worker going out and going to nodes. Now, the nodes that are very important around Heidel, and if you just want to get one person going and seeing how this goes, then you want this honey node over here. Okay, this honey production node, right outside of Heidel. If you get nothing else in this game and just get this node, you will thank me leaps and bounds. Because this honey sells for 2,000 silver each, and it's right next to the city. So if you send the right worker here, and just have them come and give you the honey, and every time you got back from grinding, and you just go to your warehouse, just walk up to your warehouse, and go to marketplace, because with honey, that's what I just sold a bunch of it, so I'm down to 182. So I sold it like an hour ago. So I've already, in 1 hour, I've got 180. Is that a 3? That's a 3. 183. So now I go to the marketplace, slap it here. Okay, so 1,800. So it's kind of down right here in the middle of the day. Later at night, when more people are on and there's a higher demand, it will sell for 2,000. Now, if I hit the max button, the max is 2,000. So tonight it will sell for 2,000. So again, that's really not that hard. Now, if you're asking yourself, well, Tarkis, what do I need to do the beer? I have videos on beer making. I've got like 3 videos on beer making. Just find those videos. It'll show you how simple it is for you to make beer in this game. If you had just that one worker, you would be able to go a month. If you spend an hour making beer, and if you didn't sell it all, you probably go a month without having to go buy it. You just go to your warehouse, what you're going to have to do is to give your workers the beer at any time. It don't matter where you could be out grinding. As long as you have a few beer in your inventory, then you can give them beer. Now I'm looking through my inventory to see where it ended up. I might have actually just gone through my last bit that I had in my inventory, and I think oh no, it's right here. I'm down to one. I noticed after the patch, some items have shifted. That's weird because the beer used to be up here. Now I'm down to 181. But at any time, no matter where you are in the game, you just go to this icon, you hit recover all, you say confirm, all the people out in the field drink the beer, and then you just hit repeat all. So they're like the Energizer Bunny, just bringing you passive income depending on what nodes you've got. Now, not every node that you send a worker to is going to get you a lot of money from the marketplace. And in those items, what you do is you just walk up to to your warehouse and you say, okay, what do I got in my inventory that seems to never sell? At that point, you might want to ask yourself, okay, like this, I've got this birch timber. I mean, at what point do I say to myself, do I move that worker? Because I never sell it. I sell the plywood when I make the plywood, but look at how much birch timber I have. So if I just took, let's say I take 500 of these birch timbers and just put them in my inventory. Oh yeah, I'm kind of weighed down. Let me see if I can drop some weight here. I was gathering water I was actually shifting the water there pre-video. There we go. So I put the 500. So just if I walked over to this vendor with those 500, I mean, and say, you know, I want to sell these to you. Now it's going to give you a warning message that you probably can get more in the marketplace, but just say hit yes. Now, if you want to know what you've got, you just go to I want to so this person gave me 88 silver for those per. And you saw how many I have, and they just keep on coming in. And there's no way I put that much, just sell it to the vendor here. Now, if you want to make more than 88, then process it up to the plywood. Or open up a shop in Heidel and have that shop process it up to the plywood. You'll still need to get it to the planks. You'll have to do that yourself through processing. But you can still do it. But this video is really to tell you that if you want more money, simple money coming in with little effort, then send some workers out to gather important items that other players want. And another, you know, like your iron. Actually, that's the honey node. The iron node's right here. Like iron. I would suggest getting all the iron nodes in the game. Because even if you sell the iron at its raw component, because you'll sell that on the marketplace. You'll never have to vendor iron ore. But the other thing about iron ore is you use that to make steel. So if you ever get into wanting to make steel or have a person in your town manufacturing steel for you, because you just need coal and iron to do that, then the steel sells for 6,000 a pop. And that's a little effort. That's like no effort at all. Now I use all my steel to make grade 3 armor reform stones. But I mean, you could sell the steel if that's what you want to do. A little bit, again, a little bit more processing on your end. All right. Well, here's another big gem that I want to share with you before I end my video. If you're out and about and you want to make some massive money right now, go out and hit trees. You want to go chop trees, get the best axe possible that you can get, and go chop trees. Take those logs and put them on the marketplace. Now, if you don't need the logs, okay, for anything you're using, then put them on the marketplace. And I'm not trying to, everybody knows I need logs right now to build my ship. And I'm not trying to goat you into feeding Tarkis's pocket. I'm trying to tell you that you can feed your own pocket. Because right now, I have logs on pre-order at 22,000 a pop. And people are still outbidding me. So, if you want to make some massive money at this time, today is 3/29/2016, go get an axe, hit a few trees, and throw those logs up on the auction house. Because if you're going to make 22,000 per at this point, and you have no reason to have logs, then do it. Because it's a money gravy train right now for you. Because everybody's trying to build this boat, and these logs are the raw component that you need to make the timbers. So it's nuts. This is crazy. And, you know, if I didn't want to build this boat right now, I'd be selling my logs. but I want the bow. I want to be able to build the bow. So if you're looking at it as if Tarkis is trying to line his pot, I'm still losing bids. I'm not. At what point at 22,000 do you say, okay, I got to give up and go get my own damn logs? Because Tarkis don't want to spend 22,000 a log, and that's where I'm at right now, and I'm still getting outbid. So that one is free for you guys. Take it for what it is. I would definitely get an axe and start getting some trees down. All right. Well, thank you for joining me. This has been the Tarkis Zone.